Last week, we decided there aren't enough scoundrels in our lives, so we decided to roll a couple. We'll talk about that and more coming up on this episode of the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 334. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. It's going really well. Although we did get some snow this afternoon, which totally surprised me, even though it was predicted by the weather people. I didn't think it would happen, and it did. So we have not just a little bit of snow either. It's stuck, and it's like a whole blanket of snow. But snow in April, that's fine, right? We're not depressed.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah. But in SWTOR world, a lot of normal stuff going on. Conquest. I got 2 characters to conquest during MFN on Tuesday, and I'm working on a third one right now. It's a really easy week, but I'm taking it easy also, so I can easily get another character to conquest. So I'll be doing that. But I spent more time just thinking about and rolling up my new Scoundrel character, which we're going to talk about doing that. So I put some thought into her look. I haven't decided everything yet, but we can talk about all that later. And how are you doing, Max?
I am doing well. I had a pretty good week. Work is still kind of crazy. This whole working remote thing, I'm quite used to, but I'm busier than ever, and I continue to be. I worked right up until ops time tonight. I'll get up early and start working again. I'll work this weekend, pretty much, at least some both days.
That's a lot of work.
It's I mean, I have like my day job, my normal stuff, and then this other stuff that's like the nights and weekend stuff is really fun though. It's advanced tech, so I'm doing a lot of that. I'm still getting in a good amount of Star Wars though, and other, mostly just Star Wars. I haven't been in many of the other MMOs lately. Had a fun time at MFN. Had fun time with the Rat Ghouls as per usual. I sat out because we had like 24 people.
Yeah.
So we only had about 18 people or 19 people when we started the ILS. So I sat out as a couple other people did. And I spent almost the whole time that the team ran in there and did the ILS. It was like about a good 15 minutes. I spent it all going through the gold keys, going through the keys.
I
and
know,
the
that's so
stupid key
painful.
interface. But I got at least all the officers that needed it a gold key, because you can't even fly the ship around without a gold key. I mean, I get that you can't place decorations, but not being able to like move the ship for whatever, or like on a guild night, or to move the ship over a specific location. So I had to page through manually in no discernible order whatsoever, 98 pages on the Republic side, page by page. And you can't even like hover over the next button, like scan really quick and click next. You have to move your mouse in between each, because the tooltip over the next button pops up over the bottom name in the list.
Oh my God.
So you can't just like go next, and and like visually
Eyeball
snapshot,
it.
because
Yeah.
because you got like a 1 in 12 chance, or however many names are on there, of missing it.
Right.
Wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob. But regardless, I did that, and then we did Ops Night, and we had some fun there. We did Ducks In, and now we're doing the podcast. And tomorrow we're going to do a bunch of stuff, and we'll talk about that in, although we talked about it last week as well, in Guild and Community News. And with that, why don't we talk about the news?
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Dev Tracker this week is kind of light and just filled with, but they're still paying attention. It's filled with our expanded community team. It looks like, again, focusing on what are the bugs out there. Let's comb through. Let's make sure we've got all the bugs tracked. None of the bugs were all that interesting this week, so I just sort of glazed over a little bit. I wrote them down, but I didn't even put links in. There's a bounty hunter class quest graphical bug on Droman Kos. Running animation glitch, shroud revealed bugged, Republic fleet bug. I tried to find something that looked kind of interesting, and there's Not a whole lot. I'm sure they're all hunkered down, trying to get things ready for some stuff that's going on next week. And what is that, Seema?
Oh
What's going on
yeah,
next
so
week?
next week is when we're getting our next release of 6.1.1 coming on Tuesday. So there's conquest changes, there's class changes, there's bug fixes, we assume, and Master Mode Duxon.
Cannot wait. Should be interesting. Good update. We won't be doing Master Mode Duxon anytime soon, although we're probably going to be doing Vet Mode. We almost started Vet Mode tonight in Duxon, but then we got up to Hunt Master and wiped a couple times because the stupid fire on the ground and killing too many dogs, which that will solve that a little bit.
Or
And,
not enough dogs.
we killed too many, so there weren't enough when he jumps to his.
Right, but there was one time when we didn't kill enough, and then they
and they
overran.
killed the tank. Yeah.
Double X. You're right, Cybercat Dan. Thanks for the reminder. Next week also
Yes.
double XP, which is kind of what we're planning for here.
Right, which is why we're talking about what we're talking about. We talked about last week. So if you missed that last week, we talked about double XP and all of the tips and tricks for leveling an alt. This week we're going to assume all of that stuff, and we're going to be talking specifically about the Scoundrel operative DPS classes and what we're going to learn, because neither Seema nor I have played them very much. But in community news, our monthly Epic Guild activity, once a month big guild activity that we have in Alea Yacht Est Star Wars on Starforge, is tomorrow night. So if you're hearing this, it could even be either too late or you're coming right up on it. Hopefully you're going to hear it live. We're posting the news in all of the usual places as well, and we've been talking about it for a while. This monthly Epic Guild activity tomorrow night is what we call our Amazing Race, which is a really epic player-created event. It'll last a couple hours. It'll start at 8 p.m. Central on Starforge. On the Imperial side, you'll want a ship that can travel the galaxy. Higher level is probably recommended, but not required. All you need to have is a ship. You may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. It's cool. It's fun. I really like it. And Corley, one of our officers, has planned it out and it's got some really fun things lined up along the way. Your roadblocks.
Yep, and we'll all be in voice, so it'll be a fun. I'm sure it'll be a fun time no matter what. But we walked through it recently and it's looking good. So everybody come.
Yes.
Also, just want to re-mention that we are doing our MFN and Conquest focus this week on the pub side while we're dealing with rat goals, because for the little bit of foreseeable future, we're on the pub side for event weeks right now. So we're still alternating week by week. It's just that the pub side will get events for a while because the imp side was getting the events for quite a while.
Yep, absolutely. And that's, I like that we do it that way. I also want to certainly give a shout out to the chat room. My audio continues to mess with me. I don't like it. So now the problem is I like to do multi-track recording, and so tonight is a weird time. It's one of the only times in the last few years where we've not done 3 tracks. In fact, we launched the podcast with 3 tracks of recording: one for me, one for my voice, one for Seema's voice, and one for the sound effects and game sounds. Tonight will not be that. It's only 2 tracks, so Seema and the game sounds and sound effects are all on one track. That's because I think my USB interface that I have, which is supposed to be managing Discord, just Seema and my voice going back and forth to each other and into a separate track, I think it's bad. I think it's a really nice box. It's a Focusrite Scarlett, but I think it's bad. So we always need, for whatever reason, we always need help with the audio. That's number one job at the chat room. But tonight we're calling on our chat room and thanking them in advance for all of the tips and tricks on Scoundrels that they are going to give us and the education that they're going to tell us, and tell us how insanely crazy I am for going about it the way I'm thinking about going about it, and they can correct me. I'm open to all of that as we move forward. So thank you very much. And with that, oh, you know what? Dang it! I ran out of time crying over and messing around with my audio. I missed my opportunity for this. I can do it on the fly for my audio drop in to introduce our segment. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Come on, admit it. Sometimes you think I'm all right.
Occasionally, maybe.
No, not this part. I want the part just where he says you don't have enough scoundrels in your life. Dang it. Well, you get the picture.
Yes.
Come on, admit it. Sometimes you think I'm all right. I like the sound of that.
Stop that.
Stop what?
Stop that.
Hands are dirty. You're afraid of.
Afraid? I'm not trembling.
You like me because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life.
There we go. You like me because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life. Well, we decided there weren't enough scoundrels in our lives collectively in a real way. This is my least played class in Star Wars is Scoundrel and Operative. Least played of all the classes. We're gonna go DPS. Seema has played Operative and
Yeah, I've played
healers.
the healing specs.
Healers, but I haven't even played those. But we're gonna go the DPS, so we're looking at Ruffian and Scrapper, and we're gonna
So
look
I
into it.
oftentimes say that my first character was a sage, which is only partly true because my very, very first character was a gunslinger for 5 minutes. But that's kind of what sold me on this game. I landed in Ord Mantell and I started the initial little quest there. And I rolled behind a crate and stood up and shot with my 2 laser guns. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this game.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
Han Solo, man. I'm a female Han Solo. But yeah, then I switched to Sage not too far after that. But yeah, I always remember that moment.
I like we've always commended Star Wars for doing a great job. Star Wars: The Old Republic for doing a great job in making the non-Force user classes interesting, fun, powerful, effective, and something people want to play. In other games, like Star Wars Galaxy, I feel like I would have and I played Star Wars Galaxy even before the Jedi, and when there's what, like 3 Jedis in the game. But you wanted to be a Jedi in that game. I didn't want to be the random like a entertainer. I didn't want to be the entertainer. You want to be a Jedi. You want to run around and be the powerful Jedi. Well, now everyone's as powerful, which makes it really cool. But yeah,
Indeed.
we found some guides. We're gonna mostly look through some guides. I'm gonna do a shout out to one in particular. Why don't you introduce us to this guide we found, Seema?
Well, actually, you found this one. It's called Merlin. So Merlin dash SWTOR, but we were looking at the smuggler guides, but he's also got guides for every class, really, and for the ops as well. And I like it because it's very clear, it's organized very well, and it's in some other sites that I found personally, they would have the imp version, but not the pub version, which I totally get, right? Like, it's nobody's job to write guides, but it's helpful to me to have the abilities by the right name so that I can pair it up with what I'm seeing on my screen. So yeah, I recommend this guy's site.
Yeah, it's excellent. And we're gonna go through it a little bit. Tell me, Why don't you, well, while I get all my stuff out of my mailbox here on my level 1 Scoundrel, Sema, why don't you describe what you've heard so far about the two disciplines?
Okay, so I asked around just people who play Scoundrels and said, which DPS spec should I play? Because normally I do level with just a healing spec because I don't want to switch back and forth. But I decided that to do something different, I would do a DPS spec. And I know a lot of people really enjoy and play and excel at the Ruffian spec, but I'm going to go Scrapper because my understanding is that it has, at least as when you're just running around by yourself and at early levels, it's easier and better burst damage, which I figure fits better with the activity of leveling than having to do complex things to get good sustained damage. So that's me. I'm doing Scrapper.
And I decided that I'm going to do Ruffian, which is equivalent to lethality on the Imperial side.
Yes.
And mostly that's because I feel like, and I may be wrong, but I feel like I've heard people say, like some of the like the theory crafter level people say, even though it's really small, and they're actually pretty close these days, lethality is the way to go. And I feel like just as when I was playing Arsenal Merc instead of Innovative Ordnance, if I go the one that's not, the 0.001%
Right.
better, then they're going to tell me that, what's wrong with me? I should have gone with that one.
Right. And if you fall in love with it, then, you'll be falling in love with the wrong one. So
Yes. Then I'll know that I'm doing it wrong. You're wrong,
I, on the other
Max.
hand, am not swayed by that at all because I personally know that even if I were to DPS on an ops team, my own playing is not so good that I would reach that threshold where it makes a difference. Like I'm trying to say the biggest variable is me doing the rotation, not
you undersell
not
yourself.
the class differences.
You are elite player. We know.
No, that's not what I'm saying. The opposite of that.
No, I'm saying, I know you're saying that, and I'm saying you're underselling yourself because you are elite and you would reach those pinnacles of ability.
I don't know. But anyway, I both, the main thing I want is to be able to stealth, and both specs can do that. So, yay. Wait, can I do that yet? No, not yet.
You also let me know that you picked a companion. So one of the things we talked about in our leveling is
yes. So one of the things I talked about last week was to look at your achievements. And I did this. Look at my achievements and see where the gaps are. And I have a lot of gaps, more than I thought. But I was looking at the companions, and really, I haven't done the really early one where you kill 1,000 with each of the companions. I've only done Corso. So one thing I'm going to do is the ship droid.
You will make it.
Okay.
Because my reasoning is, first of all, you get it as soon as you get your ship. And then secondly, if I put my ship droid to influence 50, then that'll always be my, I'll always have that ship droid available for crew missions once I decide on a, and then I can switch to other companions and get them up to 1,000 kills also. Like I was going to go with Paxton Rawl because he's like a smuggler. But first of all, he looks way cooler than I do, so I didn't like that.
What's up, bro? You're sort of showing me up here.
Right. So he can run around with me for now until I get my ship, and then I'm going to switch to the ship droid because I also think that's kind of just funny that I'm going to run around with my ship droid.
I kind of like that, and I may switch to that too eventually because I'm thinking. Again, this doesn't have to anything to do with Scoundrel, but I think I'm gonna turn. I like to turn a lot of my alts that are just sort of like alts into droids. So I'm gonna pick one of my cybernetic sets, which I've got some really cool ones. Ooh, the series 79 is pretty cool. Oh, what is this one? Series 505. Ooh, look at that. I think I might be a Series 505. I gotta unlock it for my legacy. I like to do that, and then if I'm playing then the droid, I kind of like having droid companions. I think that looks kind of cool. Then it's a couple droids running around.
Yeah, Nico Akar. He is a scoundrel too. That would be another choice. I went with the classic scoundrel look. Like
I don't have 300 credits to activate this to activate this outfit. Nico? Yeah. Yeah, Nico would work.
I went with the interstellar privateer outfit, and I put a dye on it, dark brown and light brown, which I had from canteen it came in my mail, one of the Cantina crates, so it wasn't hard to get. I don't see where you are, so that I can come and show everyone my.
I was in my stronghold. I'll come back down there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like this set, but it's got wings on it, which I kind of don't like. I wish I could have it without those claw wings on the back. Well, I'll just play it for now. Let me come back down there to Ord Mantell. Hey, did you find any babies there on Ord Mantell?
I haven't asked yet. There's a lot of people here, though. I mean,
on all the starter
know
planets.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Okay, I see you. So now you can see my cool outfit.
Hello. And you look very smugglerish. Did you pick that outfit, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look very classic smugglerish.
I know. The only thing I don't like about it is the elbow patches. It feels kind of professorial, which is like anti-scoundrel, but oh well.
Oh, look at this weapon. It's like a 6-shooter.
Well, I picked that too.
Mine's the default starter weapon.
No, I picked it. It's
Mine is the rating 6 common blaster. It does.
I was gonna tell you what it is, but I got disconnected from the server just then.
I still see it right here. I will poke you.
Stop poking me. Yeah, it's not letting me back in. But yeah, I did pick it, and it wasn't hard to pick because when I went into my collections, I had one blaster, and then I had Nico Akar's blasters, of course. So I between those two, I like this one better. So yes, technically I picked it. That's the sound of me trying to log back in.
All right, I'm gonna show this guide here because there's not much point in looking at me with my level 1 abilities here on Ord Mantell. Let's break this down a little bit and look at some of the abilities and the rotation in particular. That's what I like to look at for these classes. So the idea that you have stealth, and stealth is an integral part of this class in particular, and it's a melee class. It's melee range for both. You have a couple of sort of mid-range abilities and things that you can do, but it sounded like to me that both of the disciplines were mostly intended to be in melee range. That's interesting. So there's a bunch of that going on. The idea that stealth allows some of your abilities to hit harder, for example, means you want to be not only using stealth in your opener, but using stealth within the fight when you can. Stealth is also an amazing threat drop. So there's that, because when you stealth, you drop all threat. So that's something to keep an eye out for. There's
actually two different abilities, though. One is the normal stealth that you can only use out of combat, and then you eventually get the ability to, I don't know what it's called, but
vanish.
Where you vanish from the scene, and that drops you out of combat. And those I'm used to because that's true of the healing spec, and also the healing spec is for its attacks is for the most part melee as well. You can throw some things, grenades.
So when you DPS a little bit on your healing spec, anything in particular that you find fun? Can you do? Oh, do we get the big green shield thing? Is that a sniper gunslinger thing? You know what I'm thinking of. Did you see me? Seema had a couple brownouts today. I'm afraid she's gonna disappear at some point. So chat room, you tell me, because I cannot hear Seema. Do I get the big defensive cooldown where it puts the big green shield dome over everybody in the group? Because I hope I do. Because we call that the ink. As if you remember Finding Nemo, the beginning of Finding Nemo, there's he meets up with the little squid girl, and she gets startled and she drops her ink. So anytime whether it's anytime the scoundrel or the gunslinger or whatever is drops their shield, we call that you made him ink. All right. So here's some deal with the opener. So this is the deal. Opening from stealth, that's key. You don't. It didn't look like to me that you had to be in cover, which is a key element of sniper gunslinger, which I've gotten used to, but I did not like when I first rolled the classes back in the day. I didn't like the cover mechanic. I just wanted to sort of run and gun and shoot my shots wherever I was. I didn't want to have to keep dropping in to cover. You don't have to do everything from cover, and you can get good at the few things you need to do in cover. I have like the one bar with the stuff that's for cover and one bar that's not. Don't have to worry about cover in this spec. So I'm mostly worried about melee range, and then setting up some of these in the ruffian, setting up some dots. So it is, you are doing a significant amount of your damage based on dots. So in a dot spec, you need to be applying your dots early and often. You need the dots to be sort of running back to back typically, and I expect it's the same, and it seems to be the same for this class. So in your setup, you start within stealth. You pop a couple of your cooldowns, and you run your first point blank shot. Your point blank shot, reason you're opening with that, according to this guide, and there may be other ways and other kinds of openers, but this is sort of some of the things I'm kind of learning. The idea that this is buffed when you're stealthed, you use this as an opener. Then right away, as you can see, in this opener they're describing, you're applying your key dots. So shrapnel bomb and vital shot. You apply those key dots, and then you drop this sanguinary shot, which buffs your dot damage and grants you another setup. When we talk about armor sets and especially amplifiers, the optimal amplifiers for this kind of class for Ruffian are going to end up being the periodic yada yada, whatever it's called, that buffs your dots. I think you can go with the direct damage, the tech damage amplifiers off of the Ruffian, but I think you get more benefit going off of the periodic intensity, I believe is what it's called. So let me see. So I got this shrapnel bomb. I got this vital shot. Sanguinary shot is another kind of direct damage ability that also then buffs and grants upper hand. I don't really know what upper hand is, but that sounds like it's another setup. Brutal shots, blast whip, brutal shots, brutal shots. Okay, so we've got this, as a lot of classes have, it's sort of like the filler. You're doing brutal shots, doing that. And you can see it's sort of peppered in here in between the setup for your other things. Using up your resource as you're getting that off. And what is the resource? So we've got a recharging resource on the Scoundrel, not a charging resource. Yeah, Seema's disconnected. I wonder if she got browned out there in the northeast. Well, I can continue to talk regardless. Disappearing act. I bet this is so this is the vanish. and then you can then come back in with a point blank shot because it's buffed off of being vanished. Buddha shot, blaster whip, Buddha shot, sanguinary shot, because it's using it off cooldown. And then you're at your end of your opener. And what are you doing in your opener? You're reapplying your dots, and then you're going back to various filler, which is a priority-based system, going back to point blank shot probably whenever you can vanish. So filler priority. Again, this is how rotations tend to work. There's a couple key windows. There's either windows or there's setup of like setting up dots and setting up buffs, and then chaining a couple abilities together, and then filler. And filler tends to work on a priority rank system, and that's what's outlined here.
I'm back.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. I noticed right away that you ended up dropping off.
Yeah. I had to restart my computer completely, and I got all the way back into Discord, and I heard you say, well, I guess Seema's not here.
But I noticed it pretty quick, and I've been going through. So I've been going through the rotation, and what I'm seeing here was what I expected from a dot-based class, which the Ruffian is, which is most of it is you blow some cooldowns, you use up those cooldowns. There's, when you're stealth, there's point blank shot, but it's setting up the dots, and then there's like a filler window in between while you're waiting for to need to reapply the dots. And now I'm down to the point in Merlin's guide here where it's talking about the filler priority. So flurry of bolts, sanguinary shot, blaster whip. If you've got upper hand, brutal shots as often as you can off a cooldown, and quick shot only if nothing else is available and you've got high energy. All right, so that makes sense. All of that makes sense to me. Have you had a chance to look through the rotation then for Scrap? Is it Scrapper? Scrapper, right?
Scrapper, yeah. I appreciate that people do write up rotations because at some point I will start to get curious, and then I'll want to dig into it more. But right now, the way I usually start out, and I will start out, is I just go with the abilities that I have.
Yes.
And I learn what they do. And sometimes I just hit whatever one is lighting up. Actually, I do that. That's probably what I'll do for a while, especially since right now I only have two abilities. They are Flurry of Bolts and Quick Shot.
Yeah, I do that as well, and I agree with that approach. What you will possibly find, though, with a handful of the classes, not all, but a handful of the classes, you may take an ability that you're like learning and using and figuring out in the low levels, and then take it off your bar and never ever use it again. Like, once you hit level 30, you'll never use that ability again.
Right.
Okay.
That is the risk I'm willing to take.
That is the risk I'm willing to take, and your death is the sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Plus, I have Paxton Rawl with me, even though he's got, 0 influence. This content right here is all tuned for not having any companion at all. So.
I wouldn't worry about any. Did you buff your companion? Did you boost your companion to 50 already?
No, I didn't, because I'm going to boost my ship droid.
Okay.
Yeah.
This should help.
The other droid companion I tend to do sometimes with these. Who's Paxton Rawl healing? Oh, he's healing you. Oh,
yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
So I'm looking here at Ruffian. At Scrapper. And Scrapper seems to be very focused on mostly priority rotation. There's probably some keys. Yeah. So there's within a straight up priority rotation, there will be a basic priority and then a dynamic priority as different different procs trigger, and that seems to be mostly what Scrapper's based on. So I don't see in here the window kind of rotation, whereas various versions of the Marauder specs will have where you're playing with your energy, you're setting up your buffs, and then you set up a window to do your highest damage output within the window where you're executing against some of the right amount of energy that you've built up and the buffs that are going to buff within that window. I don't see that in here. Somebody could potentially correct me, but I don't see that in here in the rotation system for the for the I just forgot the name again. Scrapper.
Scrapper. I'm looking forward to being able to kill things really fast and really easily, because I've done this so much in the healing spec, which is really, I'm hoping, a watered down version of what an actual DPS spec could do.
Yeah, this does look kind of fun. Sucker punch, backblast. I think backblast is. I think it's got a couple cool animations where you use your shotgun. So the offhand for the smuggler class is a shotgun.
Yeah.
Which
and
I
you
think
like
is pretty cool.
You like shoot people in the face with it.
And don't you like flip it around and do a bunch of
Yep.
stuff with it. Those kind of animations on those offhands are quite amusing. So I like that, and I like the idea of the shotgun offhand a little bit better than the stabby knife offhand on the operative.
Kablooey, better than Shiv.
I still have PvP nightmares from that shiv, that knife blade in your back from a stealth operative in PvP, and that sound it make that sound that they put in the game over it. So yeah, this looks pretty good. Again, you got the sucker punches. It seems like the main filler. You're going after a couple of the key abilities when they're up. Like Backblast does great damage, but it's most important for its buffs. So it buffs a bunch of stuff and does a setup for a couple other abilities. You do have to play with energy, so I'm gonna have to see how that goes. Some of the classes that are energy based, where you start out at 100% and it decreases and depletes. It is a recharge based system where if you're 80% and above, you're recharging it at a rate of 100%. But that goes down. The rate of recharge goes down the lower your energy gets. So you will have to be managing your where your window of recharge is. I expect. Some of these energy type classes, like Arsenal Merc, I never ran out. I never had to worry about energy. IO Merc, I have to worry about energy quite a bit. My main rotation for Arsenal Merc, I could just pound away at the rotation. If I did dumb things, and I did some rocket, same ability over and over and over again, I could use up my energy. But my basic rotation, I would never use up my energy.
I mean, I'm totally used to keeping an eye on whatever my resource is, because that's a main feature of healing.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't mess up sometimes and look down and go, oh no, I've used up all my energy. But especially playing the Scoundrel healing class, because it's easy to do, or it's easy to get into trouble if you're not. Like when I haven't been doing it for a while, I come back and yeah.
Well, I'm sure you've got both the recharge a bunch of energy and make one of your abilities not cost any energy kind of abilities. What are they on the Scoundrel?
Well, on the healing Scoundrel, yeah, you have one that gives you a bunch of energy back quickly, but then you have one that, and it's the same, I think. Well, I'm going to say it's the same on all healers, but maybe not, because it's the same on my commando. Then there's an ability that's a very small heal, but if you get into trouble, you can use the small heal to build your energy or your heat or whatever back up or back down, whichever way you need to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Depending on your class.
What about gear? Did you take a look at gear at all? I know the best in slot set for. Is it the same for? I think it's the same for both
I
of
don't
them.
know.
Yeah.
No, I'd not look at gear. And I don't know what flare I'm going to be using either, or title. I mean, as long as you're asking me things that I didn't look at. Because I literally don't care about gear until I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something I would look at. And I also don't think it's useful for anyone to look at it at level 2.
The only reason I felt like looking at it is I felt that, like, when I looked
You
at
went
the amplifiers, for example, as the best in slot amplifier, and I looked at the Theory Crafter site for this, it gave me a clue as to what I should be focusing on, just from an ability perspective, it just a basic clue about the class. So when I
I
saw
guess
periodic
too,
intensity
since
as
you,
the best in
since
class amplifier, I knew it was a dot. I just focus on the dots.
and as you play your other characters and those things come up, then you can have a mental note of saying, because you've prepared yourself, you can say, well, I should put this aside because I will want this later on my Scoundrel. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good way to do it.
So tactician, I know, is the best in slot set for both. It looks like for both the DPS classes. We can confirm by looking in here in the. If you haven't used it and you want sort of the hardcore theory crafting, there's a SWTOR Theory Crafters Discord. You can find links to it in a couple different places. I recommend looking in there. I know it was for what I was looking for Ruffian. The best in slot was tactician. I believe it is also for Scrapper. And I will confirm right now, looking in here. Set bonus tactician. Yep. So tactician with, of course, one piece of amplified champion. Amplifiers for Scrapper are tech wizardry. Amplifiers for lethality ruffian are, as I said, periodic intensity. So that made me want to look at the set bonuses, because that I thought would potentially be another clue as to just abilities I should keep an eye on. So the 6-piece set bonus for a tactician is upper hand gets an additional stack, and having an upper hand increases your damage and healing by 5%. So it seems like upper hand, and upper hand shows up in both of the rotations for both of the subdisciplines. Seems like something to keep an eye out for. It seems like something to pay attention to. And now I know, I know it's very far away before I be bothering with the set. It's something I'll keep an eye out. Keep an eye on.
But you do have to keep an eye on upper hand, because some abilities are not available until you do have at least one stack of upper hand. Also called tactical advantage on the imp site.
Even the 4-piece set bonus on tactician. Hot Streak occasionally resets the cooldown of Back Blast, Tendon Blast, and Triage. Okay, so that's just a proc. That's nice. And then Upper Hand increases your crit by 15% for 10 seconds and can only happen once every 10 seconds. So it's also, Tactician is, 4-piece is also based around Upper Hand for the most part.
Like on my healer, I cannot do my, if I'm doing damage, I can't do my AoE until I have at least one stack of upper hand.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I'm not on the DPS classes. There may be a bunch of other things that give you that upper hand that you don't have. But like, I have to run in, hit him in the face, and that gives me my one stack of upper, and then I can AoE.
Got it. And I'm seeing it here in your Scrapper class. Like here, Sucker Punch, which is a key ability in the rotation, is focused. It consumes an upper hand, so you can't use Sucker Punch without having an upper hand, and Bludgeon generates an upper hand. Okay, so this is a common tactic in building disciplines as well, across SWTOR classes in lots of games. In addition to your main resources, which is your energy, your ammo, or your force, or your rage, or whatever. This is sort of like what ends up being a secondary resource.
Right.
So okay. So your upper hand stacks, you got to both generate upper hand stacks and consume those upper hand stacks.
So basically, you get really good at seeing in your list of buffs whether your upper hand buff is there.
Got it. Interesting. I'm looking for anything else that consumes or... Yeah, so Bushwhack also consumes an upper hand and is an AoE.
Bushwhack is the AoE, yeah.
Oh, is that the one that has like that looks like a weed whack, like 5 weed whackers flying around
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. I like it. It's awesome.
All right. When do you get Bushwhack? I hope you get it relatively low level. And let me go back to my dot spec and see if I've got also the abilities, my ruffian, and see if I've got the abilities that are like consuming upper hand like that. I bet I do as well. Key passives, heroic tier, key passives, gearing, tactical items, key abilities. Hot Streak is new in 6.0, so that's the top level. I probably don't get that until like 70. Brutal Shots exploits upper hand, requires and consumes an upper hand. Okay, so there's a Brutal Shots, Vital Shots, and Shrap Bomb is one of my dots. I don't see upper hand affected there. Good. Where's my other? What was my other dot down here? Shrap and then Vital Shot, which I don't think requires upper hand either. Okay, so I can hit my dots regardless of what's going on with upper hand, but then some of these other abilities will be the secondary resource. Interesting. Yeah, Brutal Shots exploits and requires an upper hand. Sanguinary Shot generates an upper hand.
Bushwhack, level 38.
Good to know. Point Blank Shot deals kinetic damage. If used while stealth, does extra damage and generates an upper hand. So then having the extra stack of upper hand is probably really useful, and that's why that Tactician set is so powerful.
Disappearing Act at level 22. That's the one we were talking about that takes you out of combat. Puts you in stealth. Overloads your stealth generator, immediately exiting combat and entering stealth mode.
Sweet. So that's our vanish. What else do we get as a scoundrel? Do we get like a teleport or a roll or any of those kinds of things? A movement thing?
Yes.
What do we get?
Well, I don't know what they're called. You just put them on your Y keybind.
It's the Y key. Scurry.
Mine is Y.
No, these are.
Yeah, it's like a little
passives.
rolling thing. You roll, I think, and then I think there's another set that you get at a higher level. But yeah, you just roll forward, head over heels.
Okay.
And you don't have
Cool.
much control over it, right? So like you have to be, it's sort of like rocket out, but going forward. So like you have to get familiar with it and judge the distance so that you don't go off the side of things.
Got it. Oh,
It's
that's
not like
fun.
it's not like Force Speed where you could just change your mind and go a different direction in the middle.
Got it. Scurry increases the duration of dodge. Also, when you activate Scamper, Scamper must be the.
Yeah, that must be it.
Scurry makes your next Colto pack activate instantly, costs no energy, and not require or consume an upper hand. You can receive Scurry once every 10 seconds. This passive further helps Ruffian Scoundrel survivability. Note that using Scamper Colto Pack takes 2 global cooldowns away from dealing damage. However, this can be a good way to help healers by letting energy regen for 2 global cooldowns. So these are the
Scamper
utilities.
has 2 charges.
So these are the utilities, which I don't tend to look at utilities too hard until upper levels, but again, this gives you some clues as to what you should be paying attention to as you level as well. Cut to the quick. Point Blank Shot grants cut to the quick, increasing crit chance and crit multiplier of your damage and healing periodic effects by 30% for 6 seconds. Wow, that seems really powerful for a utility. I bet that's a best in slot utility.
By the way, my blaster is a BL-28 blaster.
BL-28.
It's a cartel market blaster, apparently. Well, I'm not sure.
I don't think I have many blasters in my collection.
I know you do. That's why I wanted to specially get a blaster because I don't have a lot.
Yeah, I have. This is another thing where I tend to keep them in storage and not even equip them. Because back in the day, before we had collections, you wouldn't want to bind it to a character that you weren't going to keep it on. So I have only 3 blasters.
It has that. I
Oh,
don't.
but this is my favorite.
I don't.
Blaster.
Oh, it is a cartel market item, right? It says right in the tooltip it is. Okay.
I like this blaster though with the here I'll show you. This blaster with the damaged weapon tuning. That's a blast. That's a blaster.
That
That's
is
not a
blaster.
knife. That's a knife. Look at that. That's my blaster is bigger than your blaster.
Yes, it is.
Ah, look at that. That is. I like the scope on your blaster though. I got a nice scope though. All right. Well, this is looking. This is looking
My
pretty
blaster
interesting.
goes with my outfit too. It's kind of.
I mean, to be
gray and
clear, these
brown.
are the important things. You know, it
Yes.
is better to look good than to play good. I always say.
That is completely correct.
Good. All right, I think I have a handle on this class, and I'm kind of excited to.
Yeah,
to-
me too.
to play
I want to
it.
play it right now.
I know that Scoundrel is really good in 1v1 in dueling in PvP.
Really?
Yes. And I don't know whether it's. I don't know if. I think it's Lethality Ruffian in particular, but it could be. I could be wrong because the burst tends to be really powerful and useful in PvP. So it could be your scrapper there. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I know in a lot of the back in the day, and in 6.0 I'm not completely sure, but I know back in the day the operative scoundrels would top out in a lot of the dueling championships. And if anybody wanted to, it'd always be the operatives who'd be like, duel me on your madness madness Zork. I'm like, fine, yes, fine, go ahead, humiliate me. I'm specially tuned to to be good in group PvP and hiding in the corners and doing dot spread on on 6 people. But if you want to duel me and stealth and stab me in the back and stun me and then vanish and then stab me again, go right ahead. I'll that's great. I got to cast 3 lightnings before I can even drop my big dot on you and then drop madness. And then the dot starts ticking. And by the time my dots start ticking, I'm down at 5% health. But, whatever. Let's do it. Hey, there's
But then
Galahad.
did you heal to full and make him pay?
The problem is that there's self-healing on an operative and a scoundrel. So as soon as I try to heal to full and make them pay, they just vanish and they find an even better spot to heal to full and then make me pay even more. So yeah, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and heal to full again. Oh, you can't. You're dead. But cool. And as we said at the start of all of this, big shout out to this Merlin character.
Yeah.
So it's sites.google.com.
It's nice looking too, sleek looking site. I like it. So
search for Merlin-SWTOR because he doesn't have his own URL just yet. But let's.
And it's MERLYN.
Yeah. Great job. This is quite a nice little site, and it's the kind of site I like. I'm Merlin. I created this website to provide guides to operations and class rotations in SWTOR, first for my guildmates and now for you. I hope you will find useful tips and tricks regarding your abilities, ability rotation, priority, and more. Another shout out that's always worthwhile is where I found this is SWTORista's Guide of Guides.
Oh, I didn't even think to check there. No wonder I was only finding
So SWTORista's
outdated guides. I was just using Google.
So she put this is in the official forums, but if you look up Ultimate Guide of Guides, SWTORista, here she's got them all listed, and you can go down and you can say, you know, where's my guide of guides for my class abilities? And
Yeah,
it showed up in there.
that's an awesome resource.
Cool. All right. Anything else you wanna let me know about what fashion choices I should make on my new? Do you think I should keep him a robot? See, I don't like the.
So
things
I don't
hanging
know
off the back.
because the Scoundrel. Are you going to play the class story?
Yes.
Okay, so Scoundrel, he's a player.
So you're
Maybe you
thinking
don't want
my
to be a droid.
my cold metallic face won't work well. In all the cutscenes, they take your helmet off, so it'll look a little bit weird when I have my human head stick out of this robot body. So maybe you're right. Maybe I can't. Maybe I should. I'll look like this. Look at that in all the cutscenes. That looks terrible. I look like a fake mannequin head stuck on a robot body. Hello, fellow
That is pretty
human.
bad.
I am
Yeah.
a human just like you. Look at me.
Put that gear on Paxton Raw.
That looks so.
But you, I wish, and then you could wear his gear, like he could be your wing robot.
My wing robot. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll get some more traditional. You know, I like then for my scoundrels is I like a duster. I like a long coat.
Like Nico's coat.
Yeah, like Nico's coat. I've got a couple of them that have like lights on them that animate a little bit. Because I like the idea of the gunslinger, like, you know, flipping your coat back.
Oh yeah, from the cinematic.
Yeah, flying around. Oh, that was. We're probably. I don't know if we were even going to have Star Wars Celebration this year, but that was one of my brainstorms. That if I was ever going to do cosplay, it would be at the Star Wars event, and if I was ever gonna get into cosplay for a Star Wars event, I would be a Nico Okar.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I would do.
I think you should. But yes, you're right. Who knows if we're gonna even have Celebration this year?
You know, you flip your coat back, and you got the two blasters on your hips, and you know, get the whole, you know, get a little bit of a Clint Eastwood flair going on with that. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. Maybe I'll have to switch to that. Take off my robot armor and become a real boy.
Yes, a real boy.
All right. I think with that, we can wrap it up for tonight. We're all excited to have a little bit more Scoundrel in our lives. Hopefully, you will take advantage of double XP starting on Tuesday as well and level a class that you haven't played before. Come do it in Alea Iacta Est. We have a guild on both the Republic and Imperial sides on Starforge. You can find us at aie-guild.org. You can find us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. Also on our guild website, you can get to our guild Discord. That's the best way to come check us out, see what's going on, see what kind of events we have running, like our event tomorrow night that we all talked about for the last few weeks, our mega event, the Amazing Race. So please seek us out. Please come join because we would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.